Hey, welcome everybody to this session on data factories. And what I want to show you today is something that is about passing information from a trigger, well, passing information into a trigger from another pipeline. So let's imagine that you had one factory that you wanted to send information about the pipeline, so some information about that particular pipeline to another factory pipeline. I'm going to show you it in one factory, but the concept is the same. Whether it's in one factory or in two different factories, it'll still behave the same way. So what you need is two components. The first component is obviously a data factory, and then the second component is your event grid topic. Now, if you know anything about custom event triggers, they can be triggered off an event grid. So basically, the event grid receives messages and then also kind of broadcasts those messages to anybody who wants to listen. And a trigger on a data factory will be the listener. So the listener is listening out for any events on that event grid topic, and then the other pipeline or other factory is the one that publishes events to the event grid. So if we look at this one here, just imagine that you had some activities that were happening before this particular web call. So that could be a copy activity, anything like maybe you execute a data flow or something, whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter what happened before this activity. So you just imagine some blocks being here. And then this particular web call is going to send a message to the event grid topic. Now, if you know nothing about an event grid topic, then I'll just show you briefly that event grid topics, let's make my picture a bit smaller here, can, they're basically there to receive events. Now, to receive an event here or to push an event there, you do a post activity. And you can post it to this endpoint. So every event grid topic has an API endpoint, and it's basically you can see it in here. We won't get into too much detail, but it's the topic endpoint there, and that's where you send the message to that endpoint using a post. You need a particular type of body in a message to send it, and we want to send it some information about this pipeline, and the way where you can do that is actually in this piece called data. So if you know anything about JSON, this is an array. It's a single array element actually, and within that array block, you've also got other array blocks you can have, like such as this one is an array block. And you can also send in any kind of information you want in the data body. So this is the body that starts there. You can see where it starts about there, ends there. That's the data body. And we're going to send some information from this data body into the next pipeline. And you can see that this has got like stuff, random stuff I made up, like how many days, minus days, just like anything. It could be any word you want to use there, and we're going to send that from, look here, pipeline.parameters.minus_day, which you can see over here. So imagine this pipeline was using how many days and minus days, and in some of its activities and some of its logic, and you wanted to send those the values of what you put into those how many days and minus days into the next pipeline. So, excuse me. So you can see that now. Imagine this is the next data factory, and you wanted to use those values from how many days and minus days inside this pipeline. How would you receive those? And it's quite simple once you know how. If I click on, I don't know, let's just say trigger now, and imagine this is some elaborate pipeline, and I was like, oh yes, I need to go, this is the value of how many days, and this is the value of minus days, and I say okay, and it runs and it does this elaborate thing, and when it's finished all the activities, you send this web post to the event grid topic saying, hey, I'm done, and this is the values I used in there, and then in a minute, you won't see it right now, but in a minute there'll be something that'll pop up here like a spike, and that'll be the received message. And then if the message is used, you'll see another little spike. So only okay. So check this out. So on this side, you'll see that this is the particular pipeline. You can imagine this pipeline being in a different factory or the same factory, although it's not good practice to use this concept in the same factory. It's probably better to use it in one factory and another factory. And you can see that, but there's no rule against it. But so look at this trigger. This is where the magic happens. So imagine that the other pipeline has now fired off something to event grid topic. It's got some information in the body of that message. So there's information in that message. We want to use the information in that message in another pipeline. And the way you can do it is over. So if you create a trigger, and I won't get into all the topics because we don't have a lot of time on this, but inside, this is the magic little clause over here, and the magic little words are trigger body, like that, and then dot event, because this is the trigger based on a custom event. So these are just like kind of built-in functions. And then this piece here, data, is that body. Do you remember we sent a message to the event grid topic, and there was this part of the message called data, and there was some information in that data. And it's easy to call out the individual elements of that body and just say data dot minus day, and then over here is data dot how many days. And you can even call data and call elements, iterations of an array within that body. And I'll go back and show you that in a second. But you'll see that if you go back to, oh, my face out of here, you can see that in this other body event grid topic here, if you look at this body part, the entire message body, you can see that additional params has got two array variables, this first one and the second one there. So we can use either one of those. So it's pretty easy to go and use it there. And I'll just show you the inner workings in a second. This part is simple. All it's doing is sending a message to the event grid. And then the other pipeline is listening. It's the listener. And just to show you quickly how you would actually create a new one like that, you would go, not trigger now, sorry. If we go trigger new, just to show you how you would set it up from the beginning. And if I chose a new trigger, what you would choose from here, the type, is you would say it's a custom event. And the custom event, you're going to have to look for that event grid topic name where the message is that's waiting to be sort of called and listened to. You want to go and listen out for, knocking my headphones off. You want to go and listen out for that message that's on that event grid topic. Then you go and look for the event grid topic name, and then you can just fill out all these things. But you need at least one type of thing here, which is like if you go back to, I can't remember what this. I think it's the event type is something that you specify in the message that you've sent. Okay, so that's, but you don't need to worry about that. But then once you click, just have some random stuff in here, it's going to ask you here, the next page, because this particular pipeline's got parameters, you can then now start, what was that thing, at triggerBody, whatever, dot, events, dot data, dot minus day. And you put that in there, and that's going to go and get the information, so the extra information that's in that message out, and use it then in the body itself. Use it in the pipeline itself. Just to show you what that looks like. So I've set some random, if you remember, I used 22 and 13. So 22 was the minus days and 13 was the how many days. So let's go and check that out quickly over here, and we'll just do a little refresh, and then this will just show you the. So if we go and look at this now, this was fired off. This was listening to that event grid topic, and you'll see that how many days was 22, and minus days was 13. So it used those variables from that event grid topic message inside its pipeline. So it's pretty cool, right? So you can send a message from one pipeline to another, and you can send that information, and then the trigger can use that, go and fetch that information from that body and use it in its pipeline. So that's something you may want to use from one factory to another, even from one pipeline to another. But there you go. That's data factories and how you can use custom event triggers. I think I've shown you everything you need to know there. If there's anything you need to know, then obviously reach out to me. My name is Clint Grove. Thanks for listening.